Good morning, all. Happy Western Wednesday. Here are your current events for today, Wednesday, April 1st, 2020. Yesterday in the White House daily briefing on the COVID-19 pandemic crisis, President Trump prepared the country for a rough couple of weeks. President Trump said, according to the data, that we could expect as many as 100,000 to 240,000 deaths in the next 2 weeks. However, according to Dr. Fauci, the director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Disease, the number of deaths could have been as high as 1 to 2 million without social distancing. The Centers of Disease Control also reported yesterday that they now believe as many as 25% of people infected with COVID-19 are asymptomatic, meaning they show no signs that they are carriers. Again, this shows why we need to really practice social distancing. Today is Census Day. Every 10 years, we do a decennial attempt to count all persons living in the United States. This is extremely important because it determines the number of U.S. representatives each state is going to have. The House of Representatives is based upon population. Population changes, it shifts, it grows, and so every 10 years we take a census and attempt to count every individual living in the country so that we can get an accurate view of where the representatives should be. The Reapportionment Act of 1929 set the current size of the House at 435 members, and every state is guaranteed at least one member, and the rest of the states' number of members are based upon population. For example, the state of Michigan, from 1830 to 1970, we went from one representative to 19. However, since 1970, Michigan has been losing representatives. It doesn't mean that Michigan is losing population. It means that we are not growing as fast as other states. In 1980, we had 18 reps. In 1990, we lost 2 to 16. And in 2000, we lost an additional rep down to 15. Many experts, or political scientists I should say, believe that Michigan could lose 1 to 2 reps in this latest cycle. So it's important that when you get your census or your family gets your census form, to make sure that you fill it out and turn it in. Census data is not only used for counting representatives, but is also used to determine federal funding, such as for schools, for roads, and other federal initiatives. This year is the first time where you can actually do the census online. I got my form a couple weeks ago, and it was very, very simple to just go online, you answer a couple of questions, you hit submit, you're done. The census data by law cannot be used for anything other than counting. They can't come and get you. They can't, if you have back a warrant or back child support, if you're not here legally. The Census Bureau cannot give that information out to anyone else. Matter of fact, once the census data is done, those numbers are sealed for 70 years. So take some time. If you don't fill out your census sometime later in the year, obviously the pandemic has messed this up a little bit, but sometime later in the year, a census taker will come to your door and ask those same questions that was on the form that you've gotten in the mail or you'll get online. I learned a new term today. I'll be able to sleep well tonight. I learned something. Zoom bombing. The City of Kalamazoo City Commission got Zoom bombed last night. They held a virtual City Commission meeting online, again, adhering to social distancing. Governor Gretchen Whitmer has waived the Open Meetings Act. The purpose of Open Meetings Act is to ensure that we citizens have a First Amendment right to free speech and to express our desires to our elected officials, that things are transparent and open in the air. A lot of those waivers a lot of the provisions of the Open Meetings Act has been waived because of the pandemic. So the City of Kalamazoo had some important business to take care of. Namely, they needed to approve a $2 million fund for small businesses. And during the course of their meeting, they decided to open the meeting up for public comment. They held their meeting on Zoom, and once they opened it up for public comment, some individuals were not very nice. They used profanity, obscenity. The mayor had to stop the meeting and ask people to be nice. It didn't. The trolling continued, or the Zoom bombing continued, and so they ended up limiting the number of people that can speak. The city attorney was kind of lost because this is new territory, and so what they will do in the future is yet to be determined. But because the internet allows us to be anonymous, some people get very brave through their anonymity and will say and do things that they would never say in person. Today's political cartoon is about Bernie Sanders, who announced yesterday that he is not dropping his bid to become the Democratic nominee for president. He acknowledged that he has an uphill road in order to get that nomination, but he is still going to continue seeking that nomination. He's not dropping out. The Democrats are trying to determine what to do for their convention. Originally, their convention is scheduled for July 13th through 16th in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. The new social distancing guidelines announced yesterday by President Trump extended to May 1st. Others believe that it may not be till July or even August to where we can have a little bit of a relaxation in social distancing. And so the Democrats are looking at holding a virtual convention online, which would be, again, uncharted territory. They have to make sure the technology works, and they're trying to develop a plan. The Republicans may not have to do a virtual convention. Their nominee is going to be President Trump. They're scheduled to meet August 24th and 27th in Charlotte, North Carolina. So the conventional thinking among experts, if we do our social distancing, that by July and August, we can get back to some sort of normal routine. Of course, we're going to have to be on the lookout for the virus to come back until we get a vaccine. Well, that's our current events for today, Wednesday, April 1st, 2020. I'll see you again tomorrow. So this is Mr. Ruska signing off, reminding you again to keep calm and keep on reading. Everyone have a great day. See you tomorrow.